I was the lesbian. I was the stereotypical butch lesbian tomboy. People basically applied labels to me that I didn't really understand myself. If anything, I felt pretty neutral. I felt like I liked what I liked. It happened to be what we call boyish things, but it didn't matter. I liked what I liked.
Your identity shapes your experiences navigating life, dating, and healthcare. This is a series about Black men and their providers sharing their point of view. These are their stories.
About 17 is when I started to no longer identify as a lesbian. Although I was still butch, I was still masculine, I still identified as a woman, but I started to say, well, if I could date someone who was androgynous, who looked like a female and also looked like a male, because I had seen that, I experienced that, and so I said, well, if I could date someone like that, what does that mean for myself? You know, that if I could love somebody that way, that means somebody could love me in my honest and true identity. And so at the age of 18, I came out again to my family as both pansexual and as transgender. I started my medical transition when I was 19 years old. And that was probably one of my best decisions. And I find it funny now because I was so gung-ho about it. I was so ready to do it. It was a passion almost to just be as masculine as I could be. Like, I went through the weightlifting phase. I was like buff, you know. I'm getting all the attention from like different people, and I was really into it for a while. To come out over and over again to different people and organizations, it's not as stressful as it used to be because I'm much older now. I've done it so many times. Like, I've been doing this since I was 14, so it's not what it used to be to me. But it's still nerve-wracking, almost, in a sense, because I never know what response I'm gonna get. I don't know how much educating I'm gonna have to do. And there's times where I just wanna relax, you know, and not really have to take that kind of position in those arenas. But unfortunately, I have to, because I have to stand up for myself, so I have to speak in a way that shows that I take command of what it is that I seek and desire from my interactions with people and organizations. My transitional experience has affected my experience and view of healthcare in the sense that I started to realize how, I don't mean to be offensive to providers and healthcare industries, but they're ignorant. They lack a lot of knowledge, and that's when I started to understand, wait, these are human beings too. The standards we have and institutions that we go to are also created by humans, and so they are imperfect. Practice with empathy. Practice learning. Just, surround yourself in the realms that you need the most education in. And unfortunately, trans men don't get a lot of attention. Even as a lesbian, I could not find information about lesbian relations. I couldn't find anything about lesbian sex. I couldn't find anything about that was relevant to me. You know, I would say to them, I'm transgender, I was assigned female at birth, and this is how I identify. I have sex with men who have sex with men. They're not men who are oriented towards women. That's a different demographic. When you talk about the STD rates, when you talk about the climate that exists around the behaviors of the different communities, but they would just automatically, just say, oh, you're heterosexual, or oh, you're just a lesbian, or you only have sex with women. And with that also came the assumption of how I had sex. And so I just couldn't get accurate screening. I couldn't get accurate care. I couldn't receive information. It left a lot to be desired. There's a huge lack of knowledge even within the gay community. So it's kind of difficult, to occupy spaces. Period, in this world, period. No one knows anything about trans people. There's a lot of assumptions about the body. There's a lot of assumptions about sexualities. People assume that trans men are only attracted to women. People assume that trans men all behave the same way, all want the same things, they're all masculine, they all talk about sports and fighting. It's really unwelcoming of a space when before you even show up, people think they know who you are.